This episode and every episode of the Beer Guys Radio Show is brought to you by Ironmonger Brewing. Visit Ironmonger at their taproom in Marietta, Georgia, or online at ironmongerbrewing.com.
Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yo, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Brian Hewitt.
And welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're broadcasting from the Beer Guys Radio Studios in Marietta, Georgia. And this week, we're talking with Red Top Brewhouse. I am Tim Dennis, and with me, as always, is my good friend and co-host, Brian Hewitt.
Hey, Tim. So joining us today, we have brewer David Sheets and marketing director Chris Henderson, both of Red Top Brewhouse. We're going to talk about Red Top favorites, barrel-aged beers, cocktails, and this rumor I hear about a Solera beer. Guys, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks
a lot for having us.
Brian's a big fan of Soleras. Anytime a Solera is mentioned, he's all on board with that.
All I had to do was dig a little bit through Untapped, and I saw a reference to a Solera, and I'm like, oh, this has to be brought up at some point.
Get this going for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. David, how are you?
It is great to see you guys.
So,
really good to see you.
For those that don't know, David and we're old friends. Friend of the show, friends. Yep. We met you back. You had a homebrew store.
Yeah.
Was it Blind Murphy?
Yeah, Blind Murphy.
Blind Murphy homebrew store, bottle store.
Yep.
I remember stopping in there. You'd be hanging out, brewing some beer, and then stepped up. Actually started the brewery we're now, Ironmonger.
Yep.
Started that and done some consulting. And different things, and now with Red Top.
Absolutely.
And we'll dive into all that a little bit more as we go through, but we've known you for a long time, man.
I love you guys.
I think I might have
you.
met you down in Fayetteville where you were tasting naughty soda at another brewery that no longer exists. I think I did.
That's fantastic.
A number of years ago.
The dementia's setting in. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm
not 100% sure about that, but yeah.
Brian has actually brought that story up a few times, and I've told him every time that that's not correct, that it's just the guys at Strawn Brewing had some of your naughty soda in a growler.
I remember
So
Strong.
David wasn't there, but his alcohol
his
was.
booze was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
forgot about those guys.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if that was you with me or if it was another beer fellow
Gotcha.
that was with me at the time. So,
Chris, have you ever met Brian that he doesn't know about or does know about that you didn't know about?
Oh, we've met a few times.
That's right.
Yeah. There you go.
And I don't know about any of them, so it's all of them.
Well, at the time, he and I had matching beards.
Matching beards.
I think there's a sense of jealousy, kind of like dogs at a dog park, sniffing each other out.
That's
yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, it's checking out.
Staring each other down. I don't know about that guy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. You've actually had a busy week, I guess. There was a incident at your brewery that your employee handled extremely well. That's kind of been spread through the internet and some news stories and that. So, Chris, you want to kind of tell us about what happened and how you address that?
Yeah, so very early on, as we were kind of researching how to go about what kind of business we wanted to run as a brew pub, we did a lot of research, and we knew that we wanted to take care of our women guests. It was something that was kind of lacking out in the market that we were visiting at the time. So immediately, women's room downstairs, it's like posh. It's got a nice little seating area. It's got women's products. It's got the selfie mirror and all that stuff. And to go with that, we wanted to make sure that they felt safe being in a bar environment. So we created a code word system to where if they weren't feeling safe, if they mentioned a certain word, it would alert our staff that we need to take action. And sometimes it could be just as simple as reseating the guest or removing the threat altogether. So it's a sexual harassment issue or along those lines. And there's a secondary password that they use that allows us to know that this is a situation that requires immediate help, and 911 is called immediately. And our police up in Ackworth, fantastic people. Not just saying that because they have guns, but because they've been super friendly to us. They've been super responsive. They don't see us as a place to write a bunch of tickets. They see us as a community asset. And so one of our guests called out the code word, and our bartender took action without even talking to a manager. And it took care of the situation, and we wrote up a statement about it, and just to let people know, because there's a lot of witnesses to it, and sometimes, witnesses will say something on social media, so we wanted to get ahead of that, and a lot of that was to also just call out our bartender. He just did a fantastic job. His name is Jacob Crossan, and one of the best people on the planet. So
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's really cool.
People need to feel comfortable in having something like that. And Chris, I think you'd mentioned this got a lot of press coverage, but it's happened a couple times, so it's not, people know they can use that code word if they need help, right?
Correct. Now, it's happened a couple times. This is obviously the one that got the attention just based on the situation, and yeah, it went viral. We've had breweries and bars and colleges from all over the world, quite literally all over the world, calling us and reaching out to me specifically because I control all of our social media, asking for best practices, and,
Good deal.
Man, South Africa, Washington State, Canada, New York City. I mean, just fantastic. So, and we've since added language in the men's room, and we also have a gender-neutral restroom. And obviously the code words aren't the same, but we just wanted to kind of let people know that, hey, we care about you as a human being a lot more than we care about you buying our beer.
Right.
We want to make sure that you're good.
And you mentioned some of the guys that have went to the guys' restroom because guys in general are jerks.
Yeah.
They've come out kind of yelling it and mocking it. And so you put verbiage in there that says, look, if you make a mockery of this, you'll be out of here and you won't come back. So this isn't a joke. This isn't something for you to play around with.
And to be honest with you, I mean, we had some women making fun of it to begin with, but in the end, what's happened is clearly it works. And you can make fun of it all you want, but here's the thing, that if you're a woman making fun of it, we did this for you. Sure. And we hope you never have to use that code word. That's it. And for the men, obviously they're less likely to be victimized, but it still happens. We've heard about that in the past in the industry. And but also we spoke highly in the men's room and the gender neutral restroom about making sure that they've got resources for mental health. Now, that's a huge thing that we're focusing on as a brew pub, and maybe we could get to that in a little bit, but we're touching bases. We're giving people resources and places to reach out.
Good stuff. Guys, awesome to hear, that you address. I mean, you don't want anything like that to ever to happen, but when your employees, your company takes care of it properly, it lets people know they can be safe coming in there if something does happen.
Yeah, we're very proud of our employees for doing that.
Yeah, good stuff. Absolutely.
Well, Tim, I think we should get into the beers of the week.
Now it's time for our Beers of the Week. Brought to you by The Nest, craft beer and barbecue in downtown Kennesaw, Georgia. TheNestKennesaw.com.
Brian, as always, we've got a good list of beers to get into here, and cocktails this week, Brian.
Yes, cocktails too.
Red Top cum bearing cocktails. We got a little Ryan, a little Manhattan's going on here, having a good time, and these cherries were very intense cherries in this. They're very cherries. Yes.
I have yet to quite get to them, but I'm a fan of the Resurgence Rye, and it's a good cocktail.
Good stuff. Well, we've also got from Red Top Brewhouse, we have their Honey Saison. Local honey in that, right, Dave?
Absolutely.
Good stuff. And we have their, I can't read my writing here, something, Mercy Rising double IPA for Brian.
Sounds
for
great.
the IPA, man. So
looking forward to it.
We'll get into those. And we do want to thank the Nest for sponsoring this segment. We always appreciate their support. Again, patio season. Go out there, enjoy. They've got a huge patio. If you haven't been to the Nest, it's like 2 houses connected with a massive patio in the center. When it's cooler in the evening, they got a big fireplace out there. When it's not, TVs on the patio and plenty of space to enjoy some drinks. Dave, did you know that?
Absolutely. I love that place.
Yeah,
one of our favorite
stuff,
places to just go and have meetings.
That's right. That's time for a meeting. Absolutely. Well, Brian, what's happening this week in the news?
What's in the news? The beer guys have the scoop.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Time for headlines.
So stats are always fun. So let's talk about the states with the most craft breweries in 2020 with a hat tip to VinePair for breaking down the Brewers Association stats that were recently released. The state with the most breweries per 100,000 people, Vermont with 15.4. In second place, of all things, Montana with 12.4 per 100,000 people. The state with the fewest number per 100,000 people, Mississippi with 0.6 per 100,000
Not surprising.
people. Yeah, it's going by sheer number of breweries. California leads the pack easily with 958 breweries, and New York is in a second, but not very close with 460. And not to beat up on Mississippi, but they are in last place with just 12 craft breweries, Tim.
Yep. They had a brewery in the capital that closed down for a while. I think there's a little one there now, but even in the capital of Jackson, there was no brewery.
Oh, wow. So even just having one, it was tough to support, huh?
Yeah. That's not a lot going on there.
And now for some beer news that's getting picked up by all the major news outlets. New Belgium has released an intentionally awful ale. It's called Fat Tire Torched Earth Ale. The release has been timed to coincide with Earth Day, and the idea behind the beer is to make a beer based on ingredients that they think will be available in a climate change-ravaged Earth 50 years in the future, a post-apocalyptic ale, if you will. It's brewed with stuff like smoke-tainted water, dandelion weeds, and subpar drought-resistant grains, Tim.
You'd probably like it, Brian. You like those burgers.
No, not ISO this time, Tim.
No,
I'm not interested.
this time. Well, you're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We do need to take a break, but we'll be back very soon with more from Red Top Brewhouse.
Have you ever thought about owning your own brewery but don't know what it takes to get one built? We're Storytime Construction, and we build breweries. We're Georgia's most experienced and hands-on contractors when it comes to building new breweries and tap rooms, or expanding existing breweries. We offer full build-outs, remodeling, and additions, as well as consulting and construction management. Give us a call at 770-733-4343. Storytime Construction. We build breweries.
Brian and Tim, the Beer Guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock, Alpharetta, and Duluth are always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy, Brian. They've got 18 of them.
As for the truck part, that's where it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks, so you're getting a different menu every day.
Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock, Alpharetta, and Duluth.
Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the Beer Guys sent you.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Remember, all episodes are available on demand, so if you missed the broadcast, get the podcast. Beer Guys Radio is available on all popular and unpopular podcasting apps. Now let's get back to Red Top Brewhouse.
David Sheets,
Yes,
Red Top
sir.
Brewhouse.
Yes.
So, what is the story? How did Red Top get started?
So Red Top was started by a couple of fellas, Rob and Jonathan, just a couple of really great guys that Jonathan was into home brewing, and, you know, they met through Rotary and just developed a friendship and decided they wanted to do this together. They both are separately own their own manufacturing companies, and decided that, you know, since they're both Ackworth residents,
Right.
that they wanted to really dig into the community. And the concept of Red Top Brewhouse is, you know, your friends are here. So, you know, how do we really show that through everything we do, through the food, through the innovative beer wall, through the beer that we do, just through every last part of what we do? How do we, let people understand that when we say your friends are here, we really mean it? And that's part of what happened with the code word.
Okay,
You
right.
know, that's kind of where that comes from. You know, the genesis of that was, you know, how do we make a safe space? You know, how do we make a space that, you know, maybe safe isn't the best word. We want it to be safe for everybody, but how do we make a place that you would be happy to have your friends, your mom, your sister, you know, your wife or whatever, come and really have just an awesome time. Great food, great music, great beer, great everything else. So, you know, it just comes from the heart.
Good
is
stuff.
Really where it comes from.
You know, I think we met Rob in Florida a couple years ago. We were down at the, was it St. George Island?
Yep.
Yes, yeah.
Beer Fest. And I remember meeting a gentleman that said he was going to start a brewery in Ackworth. But I got a card, but I misplaced it by the time we got back to Atlanta. But I'm almost positive because I saw his picture on the website.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was him.
Yeah, so he's got a place in St. George's Island. So.
Okay, so that would make sense.
Rob's a
then, right?
wonderful
sense.
human. So
Yeah.
if anybody meets Rob, they go, that is a wonderful human. So
We were down there with for the SGI Brew Fest down there and
Nice.
saw him down there at the Brew Fest.
nice.
So that was a good time.
Yep.
I had not put that together. I did not, but yes, I do
great.
recall that. It was a good time. It was a really good time.
Yeah.
cool.
Now, Chris, the great timing, we've seen a few breweries do this, opening in 2020.
Yeah.
Just a slam, they just come at you. How's it been? How's things going?
Well, I mean, it was weird. I mean, obviously, we were supposed to open up January originally of 2020, and the winter of 2019, it rained for a good 2 years, it seems. So it kind of put things backwards, and then they brought me on 2 days before everything shut down. Construction still went on. It was good, but the big thing we wanted to make sure we were doing was we were doing everything correct. And that meant from a guest standpoint, we've got 8,000 square feet of outdoor space. So make sure people kind of spread out and do their thing. Inside, our capacity is 300 people, but we operated at 60% capacity for the longest time. And, we had some times where we had a staff member that tested positive and we would shut down. And we paid for everybody to get tested, get rapid tests done, something we didn't want out of their pocket because we understand that, we're unusual times and we spent a lot of money making sure that our team was safe, that they weren't positive, and that we could continue treating our guests to an experience that hopefully they would see being positive. And then we started throwing out online ordering as well. To allow people those that have been a little bit afraid to step out into public, we totally get. And they've come in and they've ordered food, dipped in, got the food, and left.
Dip on out, huh?
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a thing that people have really gotten accustomed to, and it's going to be a long time before people are not going to take advantage of ordering to just pick up and leave.
True. We're already seeing some comments about it. And we've had some people that just desperately wanted to try our food, and individually we've reached out to these guests and we've brought them in a safe environment, allowed a huge wide berth for social distancing to allow them to feel safe. And maybe we'll put them upstairs where usually there's nobody up there. And it's just so they could enjoy being out in public again and eating out in public again.
My favorite way to enjoy it socially distanced from the brewery is to invite the brewery on the show and then have a cheeseburger and fries brought to our studio.
That is a good way to do it. Yeah. It's
big old double cheeseburger with some, caramelized sauteed onions on there and stuff.
Right.
So
it's good fries.
We'll have to have you guys on every week, man.
Yeah.
Cocktails and burgers and fries and all that.
We'll do a fake show with them, eat, and then do the real show afterwards.
Absolutely.
Next time we'll bring the salmon. How's that?
There we go.
I'm out
the
then.
salmon.
I'm out. Brian,
or the fish and chips.
Brian
I hear good things. So, Chris, you're a professional photographer by trade. Have you gotten your hands dirty with any kind of home brewing, or recipe creation at Red Top?
No. Dave and I are working on a recipe that we're going to brew together. One of the things that I love about Dave is he includes our employees, every one of them, on brewing the beer. So we've got an employee series that we do. I think we're 7 volumes deep into it now, where he gets to know our staff members, gets to know what they like to do, and then they make a beer together. And one of our most recent ones was a glitter sour to highlight one of our staff members, her father. That's his personality. I love taking photos of the process. I love taking photos of the beer. And even now with cocktails rolling out, it's a subject that doesn't talk back to you. You don't have to ask it to smile. It just looks pretty in the sun.
Sit there and look pretty, right?
Exactly. It looks pretty in the sunlight.
You guys should understand something. This man over here is an incredibly creative and talented person. And, a lot of the things that I want to do in the brewing and what we want to do, with the business, I just bounce it off of Chris. And, Chris is our namesmith. He's paying me money now. No, seriously, though, such an incredible collaborative experience at our place, and all the different places that I've been and done. It's just been really awesome to have somebody of Chris's caliber in terms of his creativity and what he brings to the table. That it just blows me away every time that we get to sit down and chat about it.
The more he talks, the more the bill goes up, man. Just FYI, Chris, FYI there. So, something Jonathan was going to be here, but he had some other things going on. He wasn't able to make it. But did he do a lot of construction himself? Because isn't he into custom cabinetry?
Jonathan did not do a lot of construction, but when it comes to the bar and all the woodwork in there, yes, he and his crew did all of that stuff. So, but
all right,
we had a great GC that took care of us.
Okay, well that's good, man. Just need that in there. Now we want to talk cocktails.
Yeah.
And you brought in a little local rye whiskey here, Resurgence from ASW Distillery.
American Spirit Works.
So we've got that, and some cherries that I had mentioned earlier were very intense, very cherries.
They are very good. I had one finally.
Very filthy.
Is this one of the cocktails rolling out on your new cocktail menu?
So we've got a couple of different levels. We've got, and Chris can speak to some of this stuff, but we've got a members card that you guys have seen before, and we treat our members right, And so the cocktail that you've got here is our classic old fashioned, made with a beautiful rye made here in Atlanta, Georgia. And then we've got an incredible cocktail menu coming out that tells an incredible story. And Chris, you might be able to talk.
Tell the story, Chris. Tell the story.
So essentially, we weren't planning on doing cocktails at all, but it was something that was kind of brought to our attention through a lot of guest requests. And again, we didn't want to just get people drunk. We wanted to tell a story with what we're doing. And we're coming out of a crazy 12 to 14 months, right? And so what we did was we created a story that kind of brought back memories to people. So our cocktail menu is kind of based on some classic drinks. So we got a Paloma, we got a Manhattan. We actually have a chocolate stout old fashioned made with one of our stouts.
Okay, all right.
Reduced down, and it's got chocolate covered cherries. So if you like those, you're gonna love those.
Oh yeah.
But so the idea is a lot of us went during the pandemic. We kind of shut down personally, mentally, and we kind of resorted to memories that kind of reminded us of more innocent times. I know for me, like I started watching the Brady Bunch,
Okay.
And so
Gotcha.
in the end, we created a story that kind of tied to that, and that's
Good
how we're going to
stuff.
go from now on.
Sounds good to me. We do need to take a break. You are listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show, and we'll be back very soon with more from Red Top Brewhouse.
Craft beer deserves craft glass. Thick Boys Glass has curated an online collective of glass artisans around the USA to bring you hand-blown beer glassware. These unique glasses are stylish and durable and have plenty of room to hold a tall boy of your favorite beer. Use code BeerGuys at thickboysglass.com to get 15% off your order. Thick Boys Glass, that's THICCBOIS glass.com.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our great radio affiliates, WNTK 1020 AM and 99.7 FM in New London, New Hampshire. Catch Beer Guys Radio on WNTK every Saturday at 10 p.m. Now let's get back to Red Top Brewhouse.
Chris, I'm going to address something that just happened. You perked up when Brian said New London, New Hampshire.
Yeah, I am from southern New Hampshire.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We've got, I think, 3 stations maybe throughout
Yeah,
New
we've got
Hampshire.
some pretty good representation.
Not bad coverage up there.
I will tell you, when I lived there, we had a Red Hook brewery there and a Budweiser plants there. And since I left, the breweries up there has just exploded. It's amazing the beer coming out of New Hampshire right now.
I think it's Delaware is coffee milk. Does that make it over to New Hampshire? Is that a New Hampshire thing as well?
No.
Do you know coffee milk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that specific to Delaware? Do you know?
I think it's kind of a Delaware thing.
Just a Delaware. Isn't it weird how things like don't cross state lines sometimes?
Yeah.
Like this is Delaware.
There's like an annex in my kitchen, though, because I have a big bottle of Autocrat that I occasionally pour in my various milks and anything. Honestly, if I decide something needs more coffee and a lot more corn syrup in it.
Contraband. They catch you leaving the state with the like.
I deny I have it. So I'm just getting some sweaters.
Like a Canadian. What's all this all about?
Yes.
Chris, I do want to ask you again. I want to talk a little more cocktail talk with you.
Yes.
So you mentioned you did a stout cocktail, correct?
Yes.
Are you doing any other beer cocktails?
We have plans for potentially the next iteration of our cocktail menu. We've been tossing around an idea of an old-fashioned, an IPA old-fashioned.
Okay.
So there's definitely some plans in there for sure. We do not want to let go of who we are. We are a brew house. We brew beer. And the fact that we're able to use some of our beer in a cocktail is kind of amazing. But we kind of had this vision of starting off kind of playing on some classics. And then as we move forward, we'll definitely be incorporating more of our brew style into what we do. We weren't built for your typical bar setup. And so we're trying to essentially roll out a cocktail system, recipe system into a brew house. So we're just kind of playing with things and see how it goes. But yeah, our beer and all that will be involved.
Well, I've got a suggestion for one that we tried here in the studio that we think is a winner. A fruited goza gin and tonic.
Oh yeah,
So there you go.
That's a nice choice.
See, yeah, very.
Yeah, we've got a lemon pound cake goes on right now, and that's made with 20 pounds of lemons, and I've got a mandarin pound cake goes that's made with 20 pounds of mandarins.
Both those will work.
I like the idea with the stout. It was you reduce the beer down.
Correct.
Make
it into a sauce.
You could almost take any beer at that point and just pick a cocktail, just like a rum or whatever, and like make it a little bit more IPA. And like the possibilities are endless.
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, I really like that concept.
I mean, between Dave and our bar manager Amber, these two make a great team, and putting some recipes together, it's pretty awesome.
Now, I'll tell you another thing I'm a huge fan of, and I've seen a couple places do this. I think Second Self may have done something similar, and I know Creature Comforts has it as kind of a permanent fixture. They've got syrups, several different syrups there, and you can get a Goza, a Pilsner. I know they did a coffee IPA, Brian. You could get
they had a
Tropicalia with a little shot of coffee syrup in there.
Just anything you want to just throw some coffee in.
So
it.
those so it's not. I guess would it be a cocktail or is it just a beer
Maybe
with
an infusion or something
with a mint juice there? So
you could just get you some coffee milk, some of that Autocrat coffee milk syrup, and then boom, you could do that with everything. Would you like to coffee it up? And I'm like, the answer would always be sure.
Would you like to coffee it up? That's
right.
it. That's all they got to ask you there.
Anyway.
Man, I'm kind of daydreaming right now.
See, so many plans, man. Get those creative juices.
Something else before we leave the topic. I got the idea from Cascade, a mulled creek. And I really enjoyed that. I don't know if you've had that. I've tried it.
Good idea.
Really cool. Really like it. Cocktail-ish, but not really. But
absolutely
something to keep in mind when it gets
cold
out.
So the Montmorency cherries are what's in a creek, and that is just a beautiful idea.
Perfect.
Beautiful idea.
Yeah, that was.
I misunderstood Brian at first and thought he was messing with you and said a mold creek.
A mold.
Yeah,
here's an idea.
Yeah, you let it turn good and green.
That's in
fuzzy.
Tennessee.
Hey, penicillin never hurt anybody.
That's right. It's good for you.
That's not mold. That's a pellicle. Right? Yeah. So are the cocktails going to be available on the self-serve tap wall?
At some point, we might come up with a cocktail that will be hitting the tap wall.
That's it, man. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to keep my gin and tonic Goza flowing from the tap wall. So,
man, let me just tell you, I might have tried a little bit of gin in our Gozas, and let's just say that I nearly left my wife for it.
See? Understandable. Understandable.
Yeah.
The self-serve taps, how's that working out for you guys? They seem kind of polarizing.
It's polarizing to a degree, but
I'll tell you, I don't see a lot of polarizing. Obviously, some people like to come in and, have a full service experience at the bar, and we do offer that. So.
I don't come to the bar to pour my own beer, Dave. Why are you doing this to me?
Come on in and hang out.
Bring me a burger, bring me a beer.
Yeah, but how many different beers would you like to try? Do you want to just have one beer, or do you want to have
Dave.
You got to pour my beer
to try
for
a bunch
me.
You can
know what? I'll tell you a true story.
You can have 16.
I tried 1 ounce of a beer at your place that was highly hyped up.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Exactly.
So rather than having to have a 12-ounce pour or even a 6-ounce pour.
How many times you spent $30 on a 4-pack?
I got 1 ounce of the beer, and I'm like, I don't like this. I don't need to have any more.
That's right. I would rather spend 60 cents on an ounce to sample rather than pay $15 for a tall boy. You know what I mean?
You can pour whatever you want. If you want a little bit more of that one, pour a little bit more of that. If you want a half pour, a 4-ounce pour or whatever, you're at the end of the meal and you don't want another full beer, but you need a little bit more, you can come up, get your own thing. You don't have to wait for anybody.
Just get your splash and go, right?
Get your splash and go.
And you guys you use a card system, so it's not like these things are just free flowing there.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
And we limit the amount of ounces that you can have. So because we don't want you to be overserved or, leave crazy intoxicated or something. So.
Get some drunk people out there with their card. Next thing you know, they get a $400 charge to Red Top, right?
Yeah. We want them to actually have a nice time and not overserve themselves.
So
understandable.
I have to ask with that, the whole polarizing thing, usually people come back to how the system pours. Mm-hmm. Have you had trouble with that? Is that an education issue? Or
we man the beer wall.
Yeah. So, you do? Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the common things, when Jonathan and Rob were taking a look at this, and of course I've been on for a long, long time now, a couple of years, but when we were looking at starting this, it was, hey, how do you pour on there? So we have signage up that shows you how to pour, which is great, but we actually will help you pour the beer for you. So we man the beer while there's somebody there that can give you tips on how to pour or pour it for you. And if you face plant that beer pour, we will comp the beer to you and pour it for you. So we don't want you to have a negative experience because of this. We want to teach you how to do it. And then once you learn how to do it, you just have a wonderful time.
You're a master of your own domain.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got the freedom. You've got the keys to the entire establishment. I get it.
Just aim for the logo. That's all we ever say.
So I think having somebody there manning the wall is probably key, and
that's the difference
to that system working well with most people. I would imagine.
Just a little hand up, Brian.
We've experienced it. There. We went to a bunch of places, and that had these type of systems, and there's tons of places that do not man the wall, and you get a bad pour if you don't know what you're doing. And so
I had someone that went to a brew pub that is closed now that had the self-serve taps, and they went twice over like a 3-month period, and they said both times it was basically just spray and foam. And so if you've got those self-serve taps for convenience, but people aren't getting their beer out of it, that kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, well, part of that also is having a very highly engineered system that, pours good beer. So, when we put the beer in, it's got to have the opportunity to pour properly. So that's just engineering.
That's the plan, right?
We go through beer so fast that it doesn't have time to sit there and foam, really.
Well, that's good. Keep it going then, right?
Yeah.
Keep it fresh.
Yeah.
Keep it
guys,
fresh.
We're about to take a break. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk about barrels, and we're going to talk about fish and chips, and what else is going on at Red Top.
Nice.
You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're going to take us a break, and we'll be back right after this.
Craft beer forged with a reverence for tradition and new styles that start a revolution. Ironmonger Brewing. The brewers at Ironmonger Brewing pride themselves at being masters of barrel-aged, hoppy, and sour beers. They invite you to their tap room in Marietta, Georgia to taste and see. Also visit their barrel room for an intimate drinking experience with great live entertainment. Keep up to date on all things Ironmonger by liking them on Facebook. Ironmonger Brewing, establishing a new standard in craft beer.
Patio season is here, and the Nest in Kennesaw, Georgia has plenty of outdoor space for you to enjoy a cold beer and some tasty barbecue. They've got 48 taps of great beer, wine, cider, and even hard seltzers, plus an impressive craft cocktail list, so there's something for everyone. If you're ready for some friendly competition, head over every Tuesday for trivia, or relax and take in the local talent with live music every Wednesday and Sunday. Enjoy the great weather while you can. Grab your friends and head to the Nest in Kennesaw, Georgia.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
What in tarnation?
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. If you enjoy the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/beerguys. Patrons get cool perks like Beer Guys swag and commercial-free episodes. Now let's get back to Red Top Brewhouse.
So I don't know if this is a Chris question or a Dave question, but
both.
One of your owners, Rob, is an Englishman.
Yep. Yes.
And we've seen several mentions on your website of fish and chips.
Yep.
So what's the key to a good fish and chips?
Ooh, that's a great question for a chef.
What is it? Right?
I'll tell you, the inspiration from Rob.
Okay.
I think that would be it. We're always in a quest for world class. And, Bobby, our general manager, was our chef at the time. We're chef driven for sure. Just always chasing the best ingredients we possibly can. That dish does not make us a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's actually almost a loss leader, but it is an incredible dish. And we've had so many people say this is the best fish and chips they've ever had in their life.
We've had a lot of Englishmen come and say it's the
Give
best.
it props there. See,
I did see a rating that said it was the best on this side of the pond, which I'm like, that's really high praise. And
it's amazing.
I think I have to try it to believe that.
Yeah.
I have to get on that because I will admit the best I've found in the Atlanta area so far, Cherry Street Brewing their new location at
Halcyon.
At Halcyon.
Yeah.
Development over in Alpharetta.
Nick's amazing.
Nick at Cherry Street. It's interesting, I know anyone who is an artisan or creator, there's a lot that goes into it. You don't just throw it together. Of
course.
But I asked them, I got the fish and chips, and I'm like, man, this is the best fish and chips I've had. I said, guys, this is great. And he's like, we really put a lot into that. We've tried like 6 different kinds of fish.
Yeah.
We tried different kind of batters. We did all this and that. And I'm like, I just wouldn't think that much would go into fish and chips.
Well, at the end of the day,
when I have fish and chips at home, it comes in a yellow box with a dude in a rain jacket on the front.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. I like that. But so at the end of the day, simplistic recipes are the hardest to execute world class. If you can do something very, very, very well, yet keep it simple, it allows the different flavors to really shine through. So the fish is definitely present in that. It's beautiful Atlantic cod. The breading is amazing with a little bit of the spice in it, but not too much in there. Just enough to give you just an amazing experience, eating it. So
the ratio's important.
The ratio's
fish
important.
to batter ratio and all that.
Oh, and how long it sits in the fryer is another one.
That's exactly right.
And also, what helps is the fish is fresh. It's never frozen.
We do not buy frozen fish.
No, everything is so fresh and needs to be slapped.
Yeah,
good stuff. Man.
So
that sounds great. I am
stuff.
definitely gonna have to go over there and try this out.
Right.
Because I have been kind of keeping an informal list of my favorites, and
so good.
I had no idea.
But you have to have the salmon. You have to have so many of the other
salmon's so good.
Maybe after that. So which of these beers, which of the Red Top beers is the ideal pairing with that fish and chips?
With the fish and chips,
yeah,
I would definitely go, towards either Iron Hill IPA or Red Top Red.
Okay,
Red Top Red
is a tart ale.
Right.
All right.
A good pub ale.
Correct.
Good pub ale. Barrels, Dave.
Yeah.
What you doing with barrels there at Red Top?
Me. I always do the barrels.
Yes.
So
we had an event here one time where we have a picture where one of our friends, this was back when you had the barrel aging program
That's
here
right.
at Iron. I say here meaning Ironmonger.
Ironmonger, yeah.
But we pulled the nails.
Yeah.
That's right.
We pulled the nails out of the barrels, and some of us may have just drank from the stream.
I don't even remember that day. So what are you talking about?
We've got proof.
I have no idea. Stop taking pictures.
Right. Stop taking pictures.
Yeah. No. So barrels are near and dear to my heart. That's really what I love to do the most. I'm pulling out beautiful 10% bourbon barrel aged stout that our chef, now our general manager Bobby, made all of the vanilla. Handmade from vanilla beans and all that stuff. So
to what?
Into vanilla flavoring.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
And so that's coming out this weekend, so that'll be beautiful. As you know, I'm a huge fan of lambic style beers.
Lambics, that's right.
If we remember that, so we remember the lambic phrase. So I love all that stuff, and then of course we're doing a Solera project. So
cool.
Oh yes, the Solera. Please tell me more about that.
Is that a sour? I'm assuming something.
Yeah,
naturally
sour.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of puncheons and just beautiful Grenache puncheon from France. That's got our first one in it right now, and that'll be available in January of 2022.
Okay.
And of course, we'll pull the beer out, 2/3 of the beer out, and allow that other one to stay in there. And as you know, so this is the first year of us doing it. It'll take 3 to 5 years for that barrel to really develop its character.
Sure.
So I would expect it to be a little what I would call green and not fully developed in the first couple of years, but still delicious. So, it'll be one of those things that a vertical will be the order of the day.
So one large step for Solera kind with that first beer right there.
Amen. Love Soleras.
Oh, yeah, and I love that you're doing that. I'm intrigued by this and want to drink them the entire way through.
Yeah, you've got to come see my bungs. You'll like my bungs.
I'm going to go check out Dave's bungs.
For those not keeping up at home, Brian has been invited to look at Dave's bungs.
That's right.
I need
get a
an
close
adult.
look at them bungs.
I saw a brewery sent me a snapshot of their guide, their barrel aging guide.
Yeah.
And it said something, it's like, okay, step 1, remove the bung. Step 2, it's very important to sniff the bung hole.
Yes.
And it's like, these are actual printed methodologies there. So Dogs are ready for barrel aging now. They've got it. Always
Amen.
sniff the bunghole.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
seriously. So you mentioned in the break something I hadn't found in my research. You're doing is it a mental health beer? Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, why don't you tell them about that?
We were approached by a company. So the big focus is on mental health. Hope for the Day. And I'm wearing the bracelet.
He's got the band on.
Had to double check it.
This is really important to us.
The big thing is, man, it's just about everyone battle some sort of variation of mental illness. And even though it's in the news and they say it's okay to not be okay, it's still very much a stigma. And so we were approached about making a beer called Things We Don't Say. And that's specifically, things we don't say are, hey, we're struggling. And so we're partnering with a local home brewer and called Rainy Day Brewing.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we know Rainy Day.
We've had them in here. Yeah.
They're fantastic human beings. And same heart for what we're doing. And so we're going to be making a beer. It's going to be an IPA, New England IPA. And we're brewing it, I think, Tuesday. And
yep.
It'll be ready for release in May, and all the proceeds for the purchase of the beer goes towards this organization, and we're hoping to cut a pretty fat check.
I will say this. I really would like for everybody, if possible, to get involved behind this stuff because, there are a lot of people out there hurting, and this supports, veterans. This supports suicide prevention. This supports a lot of causes that people just don't talk about very much, and it's kind of difficult to talk about these kind of things. So very important to us that we give 100% of the proceeds of the beer to it, and as close as we can get to at least 10 grand, we're going to try and do it. So this was brought to us by Michael from Rainy Day, so just super thankful for the opportunity to do this. And it's something that I hope that other breweries get involved in. So,
is this the one that a brewery started it and they have the recipe available where you can get in and brew? And
yeah,
is that the beer?
It is a nationwide thing. And
Good
there's to our knowledge, there's 2 breweries here in Georgia doing it. Us and I believe Variant is doing it as well.
Good
and here's the thing. Again, it's not a thing that we hope people take. Rip off, do whatever. It just means that we're getting the message out.
Yeah. When is that up?
So it'll be brewed on the 27th,
okay.
And then, of course, 3 weeks later is when it'll be released. And we'll present that on our Facebook and Instagram pages.
Is that going to be available like to go, or is that going to be just in
for
brewing
crowlers,
or just
crowlers? Yeah,
okay.
We're not in distribution, but come up and enjoy yourself, and all the proceeds will be for the cause.
It's a good cause, man. Especially people have been cooped up for a year.
Post-COVID?
If you had, people have plenty to deal with the state of the world anyhow. So then you lock them up for a year.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
Guys, what else do you want people to know about Red Top Brewhouse, or what's coming up next for you?
Your friends are here. We just want people to know that they're welcome no matter who you are.
This is who we are. I mean, we are the kind of people that love you and want you to come up and enjoy some beer and have a great time and feel safe and have some great food and just really have a beautiful time.
Excellent. Sounds like a good plan to me.
Yeah, it works.
Guys, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
No, it's an honor.
Thank you.
Well, that about wraps it up for this episode of the Beer Guys Radio Show. Please join us next week as we talk to Jackie O's Brewery. We are Beer Guys Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, and don't forget to drink local. Cheers.